Look at Connecticut. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hey, yesterday was Inauguration Day. So, in honor of Inauguration Day, I thought it'd be a great idea to take a look at the Connecticut legislative body list of bills and see what I can figure out, like what's coming up or what's at least been introduced thus far dealing with firearms, specifically in our tiny little state. Well, lo and behold, our General Assembly has literally been not even in session for 2 weeks. And there are 21 bills. 21 bills dealing with firearms. Now, some are good, a lot are bad, and some are in there, and they really don't have anything that really pertains to us. So I pulled them down, and I thought we'd discuss them so you understand the shenanigans that are unfolding within our state. But first, of course, you know, down in the description below is going to be a link to the merch store where we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, stickers, mugs, the whole 9 yards. We've got Patreon, we got locals, we've got memberships to where you can be a member here. At the very least, and it's the cheapest option, just subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, throw a comment in below, share it with your friends, let everybody know that this channel exists. It helps it grow, and you know that's what we're looking to do here in 2025. Really grow the channel. All right, enough of that. Now let's get to the stuff to why you're actually here. You're here to figure out about Connecticut General Assembly, yada. So I'm going to put down in the description below the link to this generic list. It's going to have little links on it. You can click on it and actually open up the bill. You can get a synopsis, or via that, clicking on the entire bill and opening up the document. Honestly, not a lot of them say much. They're just saying, we're amending this, we're amending that. All right, so let's get into it. The first one, this is in order. This, as soon as they started January 8th, these things start dropping. Bam. So here we go. This one was introduced by Rep. Donna Veach of the 30th District. It is proposed HB number 5021. All right. It's an act authorizing a limited black bear hunting season. This purpose is to manage the population and protect residents of the state. There you go. It's reasonable. Not bad. Limit the black bears. Okay. So that's some of these, like, okay, it's about hunting. Yeah, I know. Donna Veach also introduced an act authorizing Sunday hunting on private and public property by shotgun or rifle. Okay, that's pretty good. I can deal with that one. Proposed HB 5051 by Brian Lanow, 45th District. An act prohibiting the regulation of firearms by municipalities. That's a good one. All right, it's going to change a few things, but basically, the state has the ultimate ability to control firearms or regulate firearms within its borders. So they can't say, hey, you know, this gun is okay by state law. And then your local town is like, yeah, we don't care, we're banning it or whatever. So there's that. I mean, just look at the ability to carry a gun in some of the towns. They really regulate it. I think it's Woodbury. It's one of the wood ones. There's literally a town. During the training session we go over, you have a permit, you own a gun, the entire town is pretty much off limits, barring streets, roads, etc. But the entire town, you can't carry your gun into its buildings and things like that, which is stupid. So that would do away with dumb things like that. Okay, proposal HB 5129. This is by Fishbein out of the 90th District, right over there in Wallingford. It's an act allowing off-duty law enforcement officers to carry firearms on school grounds. That's like a no-brainer. Okay, so if you're a cop, you're in uniform, you're on duty, you are authorized via state law to carry your firearm on the school grounds. Obviously, normal people like you and me are not. However, once that officer is off duty, they are now also prohibited, which really makes no sense because they're never really off duty, right? I mean, they're a cop 24/7. So if an officer has a child in the local school district and they're at a sports event or whatever, yeah, you've got your uniformed cops there, but you know what? If you got a bunch of off-duty cops too floating around, they should all be armed too. It's for everybody's protection. It's a no-brainer. I don't understand why we don't already allow that. All right. Proposal HB 5132. This is from Rep. Seth Bronco, the 70th District. It's an act authorizing Sunday hunting on public and private property by shotgun or rifle. It's a repeat, guys. It's a repeat. It was co-sponsored by Fishbein. I already read this one. It's in there twice. Proposal 5201 by Greg Howard of the 43rd District. This is an act redefining large capacity magazines. Statement of purpose is to allow the possession of firearm magazines that have a capacity of not more than 15 rounds of ammunition, doing away with our stupid 10-rounders and moving us up to 15. Why don't we just get rid of it altogether and just go to standard capacity magazines? You can have standard capacity magazines because that's what they really are, guys. They're standard capacity. These high cap, 30 rounds is a high cap. No, the gun is designed to hold 30 in that magazine from the factory. Ergo, a 30-round magazine for an AR is standard. If you buy a Glock 17, it is designed from the factory to hold 17 plus 1. The magazine is a standard capacity of 17. It makes no sense to me, but we have these stupid laws. Proposal number 5202 from Greg Howard, 43rd District. An act allowing the purchase, possession, and importation of large capacity magazines by certain persons. Trust me, you're not one of those persons. Here's who is. All right, it's allowed to purchase, possession, and importation of large capacity magazines by licensed security guards while in performance of such licensed security guard duties, and a holder of a photographic identification issued under a federal law enforcement officers Safety Act. That would be your LEOSA card, guys. Your LEOSA. Retired cops, not normal people like you and I. All right, Fishbein, put another one in. This one is Proposal 5209. It's an act limiting orders related to firearms and ammunition during civil preparedness or public health emergencies. The purpose is to prohibit the governor or any municipality from restricting lawful possession of a firearm or ammunition during civil preparedness or public health emergencies. Thus, like they did during Katrina, where they rounded up firearms. The federal government quickly passed a law preventing this. However, obviously, states like ours don't like to play ball with the federal government when we pass Pro 2A stuff. Connecticut's like, we don't care. We're going to do what we want. This, if passed, doubtful, but if it did, it would prevent the governor or your town from basically sending cops around to seize your firearms during a pandemic, cooties of 2020, or maybe a hurricane, or if a tornado rips through, a blizzard, massive power outage, things like that. They're your guns. You get to keep your guns. You can carry your guns. Right? That makes sense because societal collapse and everything. I doubt it's going to go anywhere. It'd be nice if it did. I doubt it, though. Don't get your hopes up. Fishbein does another one. This one is Proposal 5210. It's an act concerning the sale of ammunition at gun clubs and firearm ranges. This would allow gun clubs or firearm ranges to sell ammunition for use at such club or range to any person without requiring a person to hold a valid ammo card. That would be nice. So, we all know that it's not a requirement in order to own a gun. You can own firearms without a gun permit. So if you have a gun permit, you buy some guns, and then your permit expires, and you just never renew it. Hey, weird things happen, okay? It happens. You keep your guns. Your guns are your guns. You can have them in your home, and you can take them to the gun range. But unfortunately, you can't purchase ammunition. Now, you could just go get an ammo card. You could just renew your permit. But this bill would just say, listen, you show up to the gun range like I have my Glock, and I don't have a permit anymore. It expired or what have you. But I want to go down to, say, Wolf's and shoot for an hour. Well, how do I purchase the ammunition? If I don't have any permits, ammo cards, I just can't. This bill would let me do that. They would be authorized to sell the ammunition to me as long as I was currently using it at the range. Now, how would they ensure that if I bought 5 boxes, I was using all 5 and not using up 4 and taking 1 home? I do not know. I did not see any information on it. Maybe once they kind of flush it out a little more, they'll have some provisions for this. I think it's a good idea, but I'm sure there's going to be some checks and balances. All right. Fishbein with another proposal, 5211. This act concerning compliance with the requirement that certain information regarding firearms be publicly posted. The purpose is to determine the level of compliance with the requirement to publicly post information about firearms permitting rights specified in Section 29-32 Charlie of the General Statute. So there's things that are required to get your permit, and they don't publish that. That's why when we teach classes, we always tell people if you had a roadblock, talk to us. Get a hold of us through social media, through email, give us a call. That's why I have an entire video on how to get your Connecticut permit, because there's certain things you need to do, and they don't tell you. So this, from what it sounds like, would ensure that everything you need to know is available to you. That would be good. All right. This one is from Jeff Luxembourg of the 12th District. It's Proposal 5487. It's an act concerning legal liability for the owner of a firearm whose firearm is used in the commission of a felony or a misdemeanor. Now, I pulled everything down for this. This one is really, really important. The purpose is to provide a civil action to provide that a civil action may be brought against a gun owner whose firearm is used in the commission of a misdemeanor or felony, and that a prevailing plaintiff in such action shall be entitled to damages, costs, and attorney fees. That is not good. So this, I pulled the whole thing down. It's only 1 page. And this is what it says. It's going to be enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives, and the General Assembly is convened. Title 52 of the General Statute to be amended to provide that a civil action may be brought against gun owner whose firearm is used in a commission of a misdemeanor or a felony, and that a prevailing plaintiff in such action shall be entitled to damages, costs, and attorney fees. Which is literally what I just read to you. And then it goes into the statement of purpose. But I just wanted to pull down the entire bill. So what does this mean? You know what this means? It means somebody breaks in your house and they steal your gun safe. They steal a gun, whatever. You did everything you could to lock that gun up. You report it within 72 hours of you noticing the gun being missing, right? As soon as you notice a break-in. A year later, that firearm is used to commit a misdemeanor or some sort of crime. You are civilly liable for whatever the criminal did with your gun. So say that criminal who first broke the law by breaking into your home or car, broke another law by stealing your gun, then used that gun to commit some sort of violent crime or misdemeanor like robbery or whatever. But say that person commits a crime and a victim happens, right? Gets hurt. You are now going to be legally liable for damages and attorney fees, etc. So You do everything you can to prevent it from being stolen, but hey, it gets stolen. And you get shafted even more ways than one. Because, listen, you lose your gun is stolen, things like that. They are going to revoke your permit. You are probably going to lose firearms, your ammunition. You're in a world of pain. And then on top of that, the criminal that stole your shit gets to, say, hurt somebody, and it's all on you. What are you doing, Luxembourg? My God. All right, I'm going to slaughter this one. This is Proposal 5639 from Gail Mastrofrancesco. I slaughtered her last name. 80th District. Statement of purpose is to eliminate all fees related to the procurement of a permit that exercising constitutional right. I like that one. Okay, state of Connecticut requires a permit so you can carry a gun. Shouldn't cost you a damn dime. It's a constitutional right. You have the right to bear arms. If the state wants you to get a license, cool. They shouldn't charge you for it. I agree with that one. The state, I guarantee you, is not going to like that one, and they are not going to pass that. But wouldn't it be nice? Hey, okay, the state requires you take a class, this, that, and I don't think you need to do any of it, but we'll play ball. Take a class, and then you apply for your permit. They do a background check to make sure you're not a prohibited person, kid diddler, dishonorably discharged, a wife beater, husband beater, whatever, what have you. All right? Cool. Shouldn't cost you a damn dime. It shouldn't. Because the state is requiring something of you to exercise your right. Your right is your right. They don't charge us money to exercise our First Amendment. They don't charge us money to exercise, unlawful searches and seizures. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, of course, they always want to charge us money. I like this one. Unfortunately, you know as well as I do, it's probably not going to go anywhere. Proposal 5717. This is by Rep. Mark Anderson of the 62nd District. It's an act concerning firearm magazine limits and declarations. It's to afford a person the means to better exercise their constitutionally protected right to keep and bear arms. That's it. I didn't pull it down. It's not going to go anywhere. Proposal number 495. This is by Rob Sampson out of the 16th District. It's an act prohibiting the requirement that a state seller send a copy of the sale or transfer of the firearm form to your local police authority where the firearm purchaser resides. Yes. Okay. This is DPS 3s. So the way it works now, when you go buy a gun, you do your 4473, a DPS 3, and a DPS 67. DPS 67, 4473 stay at the FFL. The DPS 3, you get a copy, FFL has a copy, your town gets a copy, and the state police get a copy, and that is your transfer number. It's like the title to your gun. This bill basically says, why the hell does your town need to know that you purchased a firearm? It's already on record with the state police. And we all know we have a registry. That's why we have transfer numbers and this DPS 3. It's overkill. It's redundancy. I'm glad. Get rid of it. You should get rid of all of it. But if you're going to keep any part of it, the town where you reside should not know any of it. They're not responsible for tracking guns either. I like this one. Fishbein is a co-sponsor. Fortunately for Craig and Rob, I really don't think your proposal is actually going to go anywhere. Let's see. I pulled the entire bill down, and it says this section, 29-33 of the general statute, to amend to prohibit any requirement that the seller of the firearm, that'd be the FFL, send a copy of sale or transfer of that firearm to your local PD. I like that. It's to prohibit any redundant requirement. Makes sense. But I pulled the entire bill down right there. I think I killed a small forest for these bills. And I didn't print out all of them. I just printed out the ones that were a little more important. Let's see. Proposal number 529 by Rob Sampson, 16th District. An act concerning the transfer of firearms as part of an estate. This one is kind of important. It's to allow states to transfer firearms without restrictions. It's to amend, because I pulled it down, it is to amend that stupid arbitrary law that came through with HB Satan 7 that limits you to 3 guns per month. It doesn't implicitly say in that law that if it's part of an estate, you can just do it in bulk. That was something we kept asking about, something we kept raising when everything was going through. We never really got a clear answer. Well, this will codify it that, listen, if I were to pass, that would be very unfortunate. But as part of my estate, all the firearms I own could then be transferred to who I want. To my wife. If it's my wife and I that pass, then all the firearms via the estate could be transferred to our children. We assumed that's the way it would be, but you can't assume things. And we're like, well, that's kind of dumb, because someone like me that passes away and I've got a larger gun collection, how do my kids get custody of those guns, right? They're limited to 3 a month. So say you own, I don't know, I know people out there that have like 50, 60 guns. How many months to years is that going to take to transfer them? 3 at a time. We'll go with, they're even an instructor where you can do 6 at a time. Part of an estate, all one shot, transfer them all. Let's see. This proposal, 234, it's introduced by Bob Sanson and I can't say it. Defanis, I'm sorry. Gail, Master Francesco, I'm sure I slaughtered all of them. It's an act prohibiting municipal regulation of firearms. It's to prohibit the municipality from adopting any ordinances or regulations concerning regulation on firearms. It's also co-sponsored by Doug Dubitsky. It's just an amendment to Chapter 38 of the General Statute. Okay. That's pretty much all the important ones. The ones I did not cover, which I will just give you a quick roundup. We covered that one. Let's see. 5732, an act concerning penalties for motor vehicle theft and crimes involving firearms. They want to make the penalties a little more harsh. It should have been like that. I've always said that. You really want to curb gun crime? You commit a crime, these are your punishments. You commit a crime with a gun? 10 times worse. All of a sudden, criminals don't want to use firearms to commit said crime because the penalties are harsher. Now, they could do that, but would they actually prosecute them that way? That's the other problem. You got to have AGs, DAs, things like that, who are willing to enforce the laws on the books. A lot of them don't. You have an act concerning eligibility for non-judicial adjudication of delinquency compliant. This all popped up when I typed in the search word firearms. An act concerning discretionary transfer from juvenile to adult court. That doesn't pertain to us. An act prohibiting the municipal regulation. Well, that one did. Already got that one. An act requiring a study of background check errors. Yes, why are some people denied while others are not? Well, let's go into that. I have a unique name. When you run a background check on me, when I purchase a firearm, I'm the only one. Same with my wife. But if your name is, I don't know, John Smith, Javier Rodriguez, Hector Rodriguez, that's a pretty common one. Jorge Garcia, something like that, a common name. It takes a lot longer. Now, sometimes you get popped if you have a common name. And they have to do a little more search, right? They have to dig into it a little more to make sure you are who you say you are. Say you're John Smith, and they run you, it's going to take a little longer, and they say, ooh, there's a lot of John Smiths in here that have warrants or prohibited people or kid diddlers, whatever it is, when they're doing the next check. So there you have to dig a little deeper. Instead of that, surface level scrape, they're going to start, okay, let's look at social security number and blah, 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 blah. dig a little deeper to make sure you, John Smith, are okay and you're not one of those other John Smiths. And it could take a little while. Usually, anytime I saw this happen, the next day or two, they call back. They're like, hey, they're good to go. Here's a transfer number. Give them a call. Let them come pick up their gun. Okay. So you want to do a study on background check errors. I'm assuming that's what that one would be. An act restricting early release for persons convicted of crimes involving sexual assault or firearms. I like that one. Sure. If you're a person that's convicted of a crime involving a sexual assault and firearms or firearms, there's no like, oh, well, we're going to, you get time off for, being good in prison and all. Now you get to full out the full time. Make it hurt. Sorry, I have zero patience for people like that. An act requiring the Commission of Emergency Services and Public Protection to acquire an FFL. There you go. Let them feel some pain trying to get an FFL. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do. Cover that one. And lastly, 759, an act concerning public safety and prosecution of criminals and the protection of victims. That popped up. It's from Samson. That popped up with firearms. Don't know. I didn't read into it. I kind of gave a quick skim through to see what really pertained to us. Now, again, we're only 2 weeks into this, which means there's a lot more to come, because when they passed HB Satan 7 last year, remember, it started off like this big, and through the works of Cooley, Fishbein, and others, they were able to bring it down to something like this. It's only about 40% of what it was. That being said, Lamont and a lot of the other Democrats that are anti-gun have stated clearly and publicly that this legislative session, which is a long one, they are going to be coming for the rest of it. They want more gun regulation. So, guys, pay attention to the channel. Keep your ears to the ground. Join the CCL. They will keep you abreast on all of this stuff too. They are free to join. They have meetings once a month, guys. You'll usually see me and a few others there that you might recognize. That being said, I will keep an eye and check weekly to see what new BS pops up. But these are just introduced. They are not voted on yet. Some of these are probably still stuck in committee and won't go anywhere. Once they start voting on these and trying to push them through, that's when we really need to pay attention. As right now, these are what's proposed. You probably could tell which ones are going to have a little more fire behind them, get pushed, while others will probably just be DOA. That's all I've got for you in this video. There's 2 weeks, 21 proposals for the things dealing with firearms. Again, some good, some bad. Mostly bad. All right. I will see all of you in the next video. Don't lose hope, guys. Yes, Connecticut is a black hole for the Second Amendment, but you know what? The more we educate people, the more we get the word out. Hopefully, they'll start electing people that are pro-2A. One could hope. Or you could just be blackpilled. All right, I'll see all of you in the next video, guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about all these new proposals, which ones you think might pass, might not pass. And if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Definitely hit that like button. All right, I'll talk to all of you later.